Welcome back to new session. This is continuation of stakeholder management knowledge area. In this session, we will study manage stakeholder engagement process. The learning objective of this session are, we'll start with the process definition, we'll go through input tool techniques and output, we'll talk about some of the key tools and techniques like ground rules, interpersonal skills. We'll understand the importance of change log and issue log in a stakeholder engagement. And finally, we will just have a quick review. Let's take a quick look at 4 processes under project stakeholder management knowledge area. Starting with identify stakeholder process under initiating process group. Under planning process group, we have plan stakeholder engagement. We studied this process in the previous session where we created stakeholder engagement plan. In this session, we will learn about manage stakeholder engagement process, which is under execution process group. And last process is monitor stakeholder engagement under monitoring and controlling process group. How to manage stakeholder engagement? It is simple. Follow the stakeholder engagement plan. This process looks simple on document, but this is one of the toughest process for project manager to execute. I call this as an action-oriented process, where project manager has to meet, talk, and foster relationship with various project stakeholders. The key activities involved are engaging stakeholder at appropriate project stages to obtain, confirm, or maintain their commitment to the project success. Managing stakeholder expectation through negotiation. Constantly communicating with the stakeholders. Addressing risk or potential concerns and anticipating future issues that may raised by stakeholders. Also, finally, clarify and resolve issues on time. Let's see the process definition. Manage stakeholder engagement is a process of communicating and working with stakeholders to meet their need, expectations, address issues, and foster stakeholder engagement throughout the project. This process helps project manager to increase support and minimize resistance from stakeholder, as well as it helps increasing chances of project success. Let's look at input, tool techniques, and outputs. Starting with inputs. So inputs are project management plan, project documents, enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets. Let's look into details. Project management plan. Under project management plan, subsidiary plans are stakeholder engagement plan, communication management plan, risk management plan, and change management plan. Stakeholder engagement subsidiary plan is a key input as project manager will follow this plan to ensure stakeholder engagement throughout the project lifecycle. So stakeholder engagement plan contains management strategies to effectively engage stakeholders, current and desired engagement levels, interrelationship between various stakeholders. Communication management plan describes method, formats, and technologies to be used for stakeholder communication. Risk management plan describes the risk categories, risk appetite, and reporting format that can be used to manage stakeholder engagement. And finally, change management plan describes the processes for submitting, evaluating, and implementing changes to the project. Project documents. The key project document helps in managing stakeholder engagement are change log, issue log, lesson learned register, and finally stakeholder register. So how this document helps to manage stakeholder engagement? Change log has all changes that occur during a project. It also contains any change request in progress. It helps communicate changes and their impact to appropriate stakeholders. Issue log. Stakeholder concerns are documented in the issue log, as well as their assigned actions items associated with managing the issues. Lesson learned register. As the lessons are learned in the course of managing stakeholder engagement, they can be applied to later phases in the project to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of this process. Stakeholder register provide the list of project stakeholder and any information needed to execute the stakeholder engagement plan. Enterprise environmental factor can play important role as stakeholder behavior, attitude, risk appetite is dependent on organization. So enterprise environmental factors like personal administration policies, stakeholder risk appetite, established communication channels may influence managing stakeholder engagement. Organization process assets that can help are corporate policies and procedures, organizational communication requirement, standardized guidelines for development, exchange, storage, and retrieval of information. Tools and techniques are expert judgment, meeting, ground rules, communication skills, and finally interpersonals and team skill. Let's look at each in detail. So, expert judgment. You should consider expertise from individuals with specialized knowledge about politics and power structure in the organization and outside the organization. Analytical and assessment techniques, especially stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, communication means and strategies, knowledge from previous project regarding stakeholders, requirement management, vendor management, and change management expertise. Meetings are used to discuss issues or concerns regarding stakeholder engagement. Meetings may include kickoff meeting, status updates, steering committee meetings, sprint planning meetings, decision meeting, issue resolution meetings, or lesson learned or retrospective meetings as a part of agile projects. Interpersonal and team skills are very critical to stakeholder engagement. Project manager need to have political awareness of organizational politics. You have to be aware of project challengers, especially challenger has high power. In some projects, teams are geographically distributed, so cultural awareness helps bridge cultural gap between different teams or team members. Project manager need to follow the local culture where project is being executed. Observation and conversation. Stakeholder engagement may vary throughout the project. The champion stakeholder may lose interest in the project, and if he becomes challenger, then it can be dangerous for project success. Continuous observation and conversation allow project manager to get information directly from the stakeholder, and PM can change strategies based upon their changing stakeholder needs. Negotiation helps project manager to bargain for anything in interest of the project. Negotiation with vendor, change control board members, functional manager, or team members are a part of the stakeholder engagement. Resolving conflict between stakeholders is key to project success. Continuous conflict can derail project from its original planned path. Conflict management techniques helps project manager in resolving stakeholder differences and continuing with positive project engagement. Ground rules are useful for setting expected behavior. Team charter will define the ground rules for expected behavior between project team members. It also defined expected behavior when engaging stakeholders. Example, meeting rules, email rules, conflict resolution rules, and so on. Communication skills are very important to manage stakeholder engagement. Feedback is important communication skills in getting direct input from stakeholder. Feedback helps reduce misunderstanding and build trust with various stakeholders. The outputs are change requests. The key result of this process will be change requests, usually to the project or product scope, project management plan update, and project document update. Change request. After engaging with stakeholder who may be resistant to the project, it is possible that they may suggest a change in the scope of the project. Stakeholders who are neutral or supportive of the project may like to improve the project or product, and these changes too should be considered. Sometimes we have to change stakeholder engagement itself, as there is a request to receive information more frequently or maybe in a different form. These all changes are also considered as a change request and will get processed through integrated change control process. Project management plan updates. Stakeholder engagement plan and communication management plan may get updated as a result of managed stakeholder engagement. Failing to manage stakeholder engagement may result in changing stakeholder engagement plan. Communication management plan. New or changed stakeholder requirement for communication may require update to this plan. Project document updates. Issue log may get updated with unresolved stakeholder issues or newly identified issues. If an engagement strategy is producing wonderful result, then this should be documented in lesson learned register. And there is always possibility of update to project communication log. So this is all about managed stakeholder engagement process. This process looks simple but very difficult to execute on ground. Let's do a quick review. We started with the process definition. So what is managed stakeholder engagement process definition? It's a process of communicating and working with stakeholder to meet their needs, expectation, address issues, and foster stakeholder engagement throughout the project. We talked about input, tool techniques, outputs. Some of them are ground rules, interpersonal skills, communication skills. We also talked about two important project documents which act as an input as well as get updated as output. Those are change log and issue log. Good job. We are getting closer to the finish line. So see you in next session, that is monitor stakeholder engagement.